Ma, it's like the cake is cracking on top. That was the call I got, and my mind went back, all over the place. I'm sure that at some point in this baking business, you must have experienced cake fail, cake mishap, your cake dividing into two, the layer sliding off, something along these lines. And I can understand how you must have felt because I've been through it a few times, not so much, but a few times. And that is what I'll be addressing in this video. We're talking about cake fails, cake mishaps, and how to avoid them. Now, if this has happened to you before, let us look for ways to mitigate it happening and look for ways to ensure that we reduce the occurrence. And if this has not happened to you, I bet this is not something you want to go through, because trust me, it is not a sweet experience. It's very bitter, so you want to avoid it. And if you can save yourself that experience, I would advise you to watch this video because it promises to be highly, highly informative. So keep on watching. Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Oluchi Imo, and in this video I'll be talking about cake fails, cake mishaps, and how to avoid them. If you're a new subscriber here, you're welcome. Where have you been? We've been waiting for you all this while. Warm welcome. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up to support us, and turn on notifications so that you're notified when I upload new videos, which I do every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, sometimes 4 times a week for now. And if you are already a subscriber, to my channel, thank you so much for your support. You know it means the world to me. Let's get right into the video. So the first thing I'll be talking about is to know your cake. What do I mean by this? I mean, you should know the texture of your cake, you should know the strength of your cake. So if a client or a customer comes to you and they say they want a certain kind of cake for a certain kind of design, you know how to offer professional advice and let them know what would work and what would not work. So a customer comes and says they want a tiered cake, like a 3-tiered cake or a 2-tiered cake. Let's just use a 3-tiered cake for example, and they say they want it to be all chocolate and red velvet, and you know that your recipes are maybe oil based, or even if they're not oil based, butter based, but they are really, really moist and will not be able to withstand the pressure of having cakes, being on top of them. You're in the best position to offer advice and let them know that it is not going to work. And don't just stop there, let them know that this is why it's not going to work. That makes you stand out, and that makes them see you as a professional advice. Some will tell you that they are open to your professional advice. So tell them it's because it's moist and it will not be able to carry this kind of cakes. It is better we make this adjustment. It's better we add this flavor to it so that it will have some stability and strength. Give them advice, because at the end of the day, you are the one that is going to get into trouble. So it is better to save yourself the headache, because at the end of the day, you might have safely somehow made the cake, stacked the cake, delivered the cake, and then you get a call that your cake is leaning or that your cake has collapsed at the event, and you do not want that. Trust me, I've had such calls. You do not want to have that. So don't think that it's not possible to happen. It's very, very possible. So if they say, I want this kind of cake, I want that kind of cake, I want it tiered, or I want it this way, or I want you to travel such a long distance, and you know that such cakes cannot withstand the state of the road, such cakes cannot withstand the weather, such cake cannot withstand certain things, it is best for you to advise them and save yourself the headache or the occurrence of anything unusual happening. Another thing you want to take note of is this. You have to be selective about the mode of transportation. And I think at this point we all know the best mode of transportation, which is to use a car or a van to deliver your cakes. From this part of the country or this part of the world where I am, there are bikes, there are motorcycles, there are tricycles, and some people even use buses to deliver their cakes. I don't think this is the best. In fact, it is not the best because you will get into trouble. You're going to get into trouble because other passengers, like if you use a public bus or public transportation, like we call it here, other passengers will want to come in and you have to sometimes make adjustments, move in, move out, for someone to alight, you have to turn, you have to do this and that, and trust me, you cannot even carry a cake and be doing all that. It's going to get squashed, it's going to get messed up. So you want to avoid this trouble and be selective. Know what works for your cake delivery. In fact, it's not a matter of knowing what works for your cake deliveries. I would advise that you stick to cakes or vans for delivering cakes. Please do not use bikes. If you can avoid delivering via public transport as well, please do. Don't say you're going to sit in front, because even if you sit in front, somebody will still have to sit beside you. Because I don't know how it works in other locations, but here it has to do with a lot of movement. So save yourself the stress and avoid that. If you can hire someone who would handle your deliveries, all well and good. So understand and be strict about the mode of transportation and delivery. Another thing you should take note of is this: the weather. It plays such a huge and important role. Depending on the kind of cake you're delivering, you don't want to deliver when the sun is up and when the temperature is really high, or when the temperature is even high on a hot sunny day. You want to deliver a particular kind of cake, say a sweet meringue buttercream cake or an Italian meringue buttercream cake. You might just be looking for trouble. So please be mindful about the weather. It is better to have these kind of deliveries done in the morning hours before the sun comes up. I know someone who personally delivers in the mornings for that kind of cakes. I know she has mentioned it once before that she delivers pretty early in the morning to avoid issues like this. Another thing you want to think about is your cake structure, especially when you're using special kind of fillings like jam, strawberry sauce, chocolate sauce, fillings and all that tends to make your cake slide. You want to build a dam on each layer of the cake before you put the next, and then put your filling in the middle. And then when you're done, you also want to dowel your cakes. So your cake structure is important. You're going to put dowels inside. For me, I prefer to use dowel rather than kebab sticks or skewers like we call it. So use dowel rods or bubble straws because they are more sure to keep your cake intact. Okay, so be mindful about the structure of your cakes and the fillings you use. You also want to educate the delivery person, or if you're not the one delivering, you educate your delivery person on how to carry the cakes, how to handle the cakes, how to drive, the speed limits. They should not run into bumps. They shouldn't be on high speed when driving. They have to be really, really careful when delivering this cake. The temperature of the car is also very important, especially for buttercream cakes. You don't want to use a car that has a poor air conditioning system or that has a faulty air conditioning system, because your cakes are not going to most likely make it there in one piece because of the heat and everything, depending on your location. For where I am in Nigeria, it's really hot. It's really, really hot. So you want to be mindful of that the car you're using to deliver has a good and effective air conditioning system so that it keeps the cake cool and keeps the cake in one piece till it gets to its destination. Another thing you want to do is to be mindful of your time. Manage your time well so that you avoid rush hours, because when you're late for a delivery, you tend to rush, or the person that is delivering tends to want to rush to beat traffic or something, just so that they can deliver in good time. So avoid rush hours. Try to make your things that you need for the cake ahead. Do your preparations ahead. Do your proper planning ahead so that you can deliver in good time and not be caught in traffic or have to rush so that you can get to the delivery location on time. And then positioning your cake is also very important. It has to be on a leveled platform. It has to be on a leveled surface. So what I do is to use something to give it a support. It could be books, it could be a plastic bottle. You use it to put under the box of the cake so that the cake stays this way and it's not slanted like this, okay, because it can slide off. So you want to be careful in the positioning, keep it right. If it's on the floor of the car you're using, if it's a small cake that is safe for you, fine, or if it's on the car seat, fine, but ensure that it's in a place where it's properly balanced and where cool air can get to it. And then another thing that I would like to mention is this: you also have to ensure that in building your cake, you do something that would help it stick to the board. So if you're putting your cake on your cake board or cake drum, don't just place it. You have to apply some buttercream to it, or something that is sure not to fail you. So sometimes I use chocolate, melted chocolate. So if you apply it to your cake board or cake drum, it will serve as a very strong way of keeping your cake intact and in place and in shape. So use your buttercream, use your melted chocolate, any of these that would help keep your cakes intact, so that in case of anything, maybe forceful application of pressure to the bricks or anything, just anything, you want to be on the safe side and have your cake in a good position so that it doesn't slip, it doesn't slide. So I believe that if you're able to practice and begin to do some of these things, you'll be able to avoid cake mishaps. I mentioned something at the beginning, and that was something that happened to me earlier this year. One of my cakes broke. And when I mean broke, I mean it broke and it's scattered all over the place. It's scattered, and it was a very difficult one. In fact, I couldn't meet up with the delivery for same day. And thank God the customer was really very understanding. I had to deliver the following day. And what happened was, it was a money roll cake, and there were some things I did not know. So it's important that if you're making special kind of cakes, you know what to do. Like, the mistake I made then was that the cake was small, number one, and then the bills were so much. I can't remember how many dollars now. Yeah, it was in dollars, but it was so much that it was a big bulk by the time we were done rolling it and putting it into the cake. So the dowel we passed through is the size of the money, the size of the cake, everything was just working. Everything just worked against, we're just not in sync. They just did not work. So you want to be mindful if you're doing something like a money roll cake or a special cake. For money roll cakes, ensure that you use a good moderate size of cake, and then use few bills, use few notes. You don't want to do too much. If your client says they want a particular amount that is so much, please advise them. It's your place as a professional to advise them and let them know what will work and what will not work. So use a good size of cake, moderate size, and then do not put so much dollar bills inside. And then before that, they ensure that you ask questions from people that have done it, you watch videos on how to do it, so that you would have a better understanding of what to do and what not to do. Clients have their demands, customers have their demands, but it's your place to let them know that if this is done this way, it can lead to a cake mishap, and you do not want that. So I believe that with all those things that I've shared in this video, if you apply them, you'll be able to save yourself that headache and the challenge that comes with cake fails, cake mishaps, cake accidents, calls that your cake is leaning or that your cake has broken or something has happened. Please, if you found this video very helpful or insightful, informative, please drop me your comments down below, and do not forget once again to like, to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.